case you guys can hear us.
Gotta make the #1 hit though. This ain't your intro.
For the black people, cause economically we are not equal. Waking up to lies, can't doze no more. I told y'all this, that dangerous show. Don't go to church if you ain't trying to help us. Don't even try to be around that can't protect us. We see the lies of the politicians. We need money, no symbolism. It's Maze and Sonya and Ruthie and Todd explaining how we all come from God, giving us tools to beat the odds. If we're united, our movement gon' start. They ain't tryna help us, they ain't tryna do nothing. We gotta do something, we gotta stop running. It's time to confront the problem. Really, you expect your oppressor to solve us.
What's in it for the black people? All the lies we didn't heard before. Time to pay attention, you gotta do more than listen. Need some action with it on the count of 3. Let's go.
When is my people gon' stop the hate? Look in the mirror, realize you great. But we always argue with our brothers, but is others gon' take our place? Stay in tune and stay on top. Bout who forwards and bout who not. Just green light the black economy. Then watch all the shooting gon' stop. To my black people in power, just remember who put you in power. If you really wanna save all the black princesses, be Mario or not Bowser. They gave us a hard job. We gon' make it if we do it together. Divided before we gotta evolve. We confidence you with it before you started. With no confidence in the people, we always gon' be.
What's in it for the black people? All the lies we didn't heard before. Time to pay attention, you gotta do more than listen. Need some action with it on the count of 3. Let's go.
Good morning. It's episode 3 of Minding Our Black-Owned Business. I'm back. Every week, Maze keeps showing me stuff as if he's not going to be here with me every week. Like, I'm like, hey, I don't need to know none of this.
It's Saturday, man. Y'all got me working on a Saturday, and I got the bigs tomorrow, so it means I'm working 7 days a week. Look, y'all gonna have to figure this thing out.
Clearly.
He said, Tennille, push this button and then do this and then do, hey, hold on a minute.
Yeah, write this down. Write this down.
Right, exactly. Good morning, and thank you all for tuning into Minding Our Black-Owned Business, broadcasting live from the What's in It for the Black People Studios. We are also broadcasting from the Maze Jackson page, so thank you this morning for tuning in. So for those that may be your first time tuning into Minding Our Black-Owned Business, goal of this show is really just to amplify the stories and the journeys of black business owners, essentially. So first week I had Maze Jackson. We talked about just kind of how he got me in the game. Last week I had Ishonia Scott with Essie Marie's Dressing. And today I have my friend, Chef Cliff Rome, in the studio. Good morning, Chef.
What's poppin'?
How are you?
Good, man.
So, again, same thing like I said with Maze. Chef Rome and I have been working together for a long time, so I'm going to try to make sure that our conversations aren't, I already know that answer. So if I miss a part or if I skip over a question, because we talk all the time and we've been working together all the time, just kind of reel me back in so that way people, I know you do because you're a professional. You're a professional. So I always tell people also, I do not read bios of any of my guests because ideally I should either know them or people will discover them as well with me. So my Chef Cliff Rome story. I know.
Let me cross my arms for that one. Let me hear it. Go ahead.
So 8 years ago, I've been working in the Land of Rome's Joy, and we'll talk about what the Land of Rome's Joy includes. But 8 years ago, I met Chef Rome and Eileen Rhodes through Maze Jackson. And I was getting started doing social media and heard about this guy that opened up a restaurant on the corner of 47th and King Drive. And hey, Maze was like, it might be a good idea if you help start, get him on social media. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. So they say, meet me at 4455 South King Drive. Just the address. I'm from Bolingbrook, just so we're clear. So I don't know what well, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was. They say, come up the back steps. Back steps? Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm confused. Why are there back steps and what am I coming into? And I walk into Bronze Event Lounge. And for anybody who's ever been into the back room of the Parkway, I don't care if you've never been there. You're like the country mouse. You can't help but to look at everything and you're like, where am I?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So I'm ready. I've got my presentation. I've got my new iPad because, again, this is 2012. Right. So I had just gotten my iPad and I'm getting ready to pitch this businessman that I've got a business that can help him. And Cliff wasn't feeling it. That wasn't a good day.
I was shot out.
It was not.
Shot out. Yeah.
So I kind of get a little attitude because I have a prepared presentation. I've got my iPad, I've got my laptop, I've got all my stuff, and I'm talking, and nothing I said mattered until I said I worked at Dairy Queen growing up.
Right, literally, I got right up.
Cliff popped up. He was like, Dairy Queen, Dairy Queen. You worked at Dairy Queen? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I got 2 whole degrees. I got work experience up the wazoo. At the time, I was working with Walt Whitman, so I felt like I was international because we were doing stuff in Italy and all these places. Right. And Dairy Queen is what got you?
Dude,
Stop it.
My God. Stop
it. So that's kind of how, and ever since from there, we've kind of just been rocking and rolling ever since.
No, I mean, you're absolutely correct. You know what happened was anytime I hear a story about someone who's doing something passionate in the industry, and when you said it, it was like, it was spot on. That's what made me go ahead and trigger.
Yeah, but I hadn't worked at Dairy Queen since I was like 20.
It didn't matter.
I was 32.
That's part of the resume. You know what? What happens a lot of times, that's the part that people gloss over.
Yep.
But that's all the foundation. That's the history. That's the study. That's all. That's the exposure.
It
Foundationally, it gave you a lot of what you have today, right?
Yes. Shout out to Bob Daughters. I know the owner of Dairy Queen at the time. So yes, I do. I still say if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. Right. And a lot of what I learned at 16 through 20 working in the industry, I still apply it today, and I'm always like, oh my God, how did I end up here?
And I saw you count down them banks.
Hey, I play. Hey, all them heads better face the same way. The pennies, they had the nerve at Peaches to move the pennies on the other side. I was irritated the other day.
No,
but anyway,
it's simple stuff.
Yep.
I mean, but actually, that's exactly what made me think about people who are very passionate about what they do. It had to start somewhere.
Yep.
And with you, obviously, Dairy Queen meant more than just a summer job.
Yep.
Right? It was something where it was going to teach you foundationally things that you still use today. Right? And you can reach back to it like that.
Yep.
That's the beauty about understanding not just food service, but a job.
Yep.
Right. A career path that you're on, because it's a lot of the stuff is transferable.
Yep, absolutely. So Chef Rome, Tell us a little bit about you, because here's what I want to do. I want to definitely commit to having you come back.
Okay. Yep.
So that's number one at the end of my series, because I'm doing episodes because I know myself. So we're going to end this at a certain point. But I also want to today, just for those that are familiar with Chef Rome and the brands, we're not going to focus so much on the brands today. We'll talk about it, but we're going to talk about staffing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what it looks like to staff, to hire. We're going to talk about our training and hospitality and culinary training program. But please give people a little bit of background and explain what the Land of Rome's Joy is.
Well, I've been in food service since 1989, so a long time. I mean, I started off, I always like to say my humble beginnings as a dishwasher. And for me, that institutional foundation was a launching pad. I knew I didn't want to wash dishes for a long time. Let's be clear. I did it at home and I was organized, but when I went into this big restaurant setting or even hospital, I'm like, wow, Pete, this is a job, but what is he doing over there? And I saw someone else cooking. I was like, I can do that. And then I became the Jell-O guy, right? And everyone laughed. They were like, what, you the Jell-O guy? I was like, yeah, I worked the conveyor line, and my job was to be able to put the Jell-O on the cart, right, on the tray. But the thing was, it was color coordinated, right?
Ooh.
Because you had all the diets. I still, to this day, remember those diets, right? Because I was so cold at my job.
Yep.
I was like, look, I'll put this one right here. The pink is wait. Nah, I just said it.
Yeah,
I
right.
knew it.
I don't know if you remember for real. You said 89. I'm just saying that's a long time ago.
Well, the gray was low sodium, and for diabetics was a pink, right?
Okay.
And so you had all these different things. But what it taught me was like, if you're gonna be organized, you could do this, and you can do a great job at it. So for me, starting down at the lowest point on the totem pole and then working my way up, from there, I decided that I wanted to go into food service seriously. So I decided I'd look up culinary schools. So I went to Kendall College.
Okay. For how long?
2.5 years.
Okay.
All right. So at the time, Kendall was in Evanston. So some of our classes were over at Northwestern. So
Wait, where are you from? I've completely forgot. Where are you from?
I'm from the South Side, baby. I'm from Inglewood.
Go ahead. Next part. 57th and Bishop.
57 and Bishop, baby. I took the double nickel to the damn ride. But every day, I used to go from 55th Street and go all the way to Noyes, right? So that's when I did all my homework, because it was such a long ride. But, I had an opportunity to start to really think about what I wanted to do as a career. There was an opportunity in culinary school. You go through these blocks, and at a certain point, you go through your internship. And so it was my time to, take my internship seriously, and I was trying to decide where you're gonna go. And I happened to be watching television, and a commercial came. It wasn't actually a commercial. It was the news, and they had a chef on, and it was Wolfgang Puck.
Okay.
And I looked and I said, you know what? He's opening a restaurant in Chicago. I'm gonna go and do that, right? And so I had 3 places. And all 3 of them said Wolfgang Puck, right? So I was like, I'm not going anywhere else. So I go down to Spago. I walk in the door, and I said, hey, listen, I'm here for a job. And they said, oh, you have to go around back. And so a server stopped me and said, oh, you know what? We're actually not hiring. I said, oh, okay. But you know what? Amanda, and I didn't know her name. I had heard it before. I was like, Amanda. Oh, well, you know what? Miss Puck. And they said, oh, Amanda? I said, oh, yeah, Amanda.
Did you know her?
Hell no.
That's that Inglewood.
Yeah, that's that hustle, man. And I'm like, I'm not leaving here. And so I go around to the back, and I find the kitchen manager. And he said, why are you here? I said, I'm here to fill out an application. Amanda, he was like, Amanda sent you? Nah. He was like, what school do you go to? And I start talking. And immediately, everything kind of like froze in time. And I heard these footsteps and this voice. It was a heavy accent, right? This guy coming down the stairs. And he's like, hey, hello, who are you? And I said, chef, my name is, because he had on chef jacket or whatever. And I was like, my name is, he's like, I don't care, get out of here. And I was like, oh, wait, first of all, he a brother.
Right.
And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, no, we don't hire. And I'm trying to explain myself, and he's studying, saying, go, 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 go. And then another guy came down the stairs with a heavier accent, right? And I'm thinking, like, who is this? And I look, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's Wolfgang. Like, here's my shot. So I said, hey, chef, listen, I'm here. I'm a culinary student. He said, hey, can you peel potatoes? I said, huh? Yes, chef. He said, okay, go upstairs, change your jacket, come down, peel potatoes. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. 3 hours later, he comes back, and he looks, and he said, this guy can peel potatoes. Go and come back tomorrow. That's how I got the job.
That's so cool.
Right?
That's so cool.
And so what I knew then was that this was an area that I really wanted to be in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had several jobs up until then. Yeah, I worked at Midway Airport Concessions as a concession manager. I worked at Marriott, but really that fine dining entree right
Mm-hmm.
there was it.
So, okay, we hustled up on a job. How do we now own 5 businesses?
Man.
Where did that passion come from? When and how did you believe that you could do it? Like, was that part of the life plan? Was it just get a job?
No, it was a job, but I was really interested in the industry. And at the time, food service kitchens were different. You know, everything was totally different. But you were actually in institutions with cats that really wanted to do something, right? And they were exposing you to all these different things. At Spago, it was 80 people in the kitchen. Wow. Imagine that, 80 people. And so you had people from all different countries and all parts and corners of the world working in that kitchen.
Wow.
Like, you don't get it.
And you rose up within, how long did you stay at Spago?
I think 6 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there a minute because I was on and off because I actually had left and come back. I went to, I did an internship. I wanted to go to Europe.
Okay.
And my thing then was like, hey, listen, I don't know anybody. But Wolfgang had worked with all these people, and they had been under the tutelage of him.
Okay.
And they created these other businesses, and most of which were in France. And so I said, I want to go to France.
Okay.
Right? And by that time, I had befriended the executive chef, Francois Kouako Dongo, who was from the Ivory Coast. He had a lot of family in Paris. And so he said, well, you know what? If you want to go, my cousin is there. And then our executive chef now, Claude.
Yes.
Right.
Hey, Chef Claude.
Chef Claude had family there. So I wound up hanging out with his family, and we just started from there. So once I saw what was happening in Europe and how these people were managing these boutique businesses and they had more than one business, that's kind of what started it. But back stateside, I had hella mentors.
Okay.
And it was really about not just owning a business, but owning something that you can pass down.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And you can create jobs.
Yep.
And so from that point, it just started, and I never really wanted to stop.
Wow. So you always say, no one is coming to save us.
Right.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we have to take care of ourselves. That means that we have to have all our paperwork in order. Mm-hmm. We have to have our business in order. We have to have the foundation and the fundamentals taken care of. Everything has to be tight. Because if you want people to assist, you got to do some of the heavy lifting.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of times the onus is always on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to position ourselves to be in a better position, and that's generally by being organized.
And us is us as business owners, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's a part where, and I think I might have missed the part where I thought I was only working with Chef Cliff Rome for one business.
Oh, yeah.
And that was not the case.
Nope.
Chef had 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, so you could do this? Oh, you could post the pictures of the hot dogs? Okay, well, post the pictures of the ballroom.
Yeah.
Post the
yeah.
pictures of my food.
Yeah.
Why don't you start eating duck? Why don't you start doing this? So just for the listening audience, right now you've got 4, is it 4 active businesses? 4 or 5?
Four active, yeah.
Well, 5 if we include Mise en Place.
Oh, yeah. There you
So
go.
5 active businesses at the end of the day. Okay. 5 active businesses at the end of the day. And it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about paperwork and having everything in order, and even if we just talked one business. So today let's talk Peaches and let's talk Mise en Place,
Yep.
right? Because they're two different. You've got a nonprofit and that's kind of evolved into that. And then we've got Peaches Restaurant, which is kind of the one that was closed down for a little bit.
Yeah.
We had to reopen a little bit. And it's different. But in terms of having everything in order, especially now, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a super important part of the ability to pivot, reopen, and do all that fun stuff.
It's crazy. I mean, listen, what we're talking about now, Mise en Place, Mise
Spell it right.
ENPLACE, right?
Yep.
It means all things in order. And we had to have this foundation. First of all, this type of training we had been doing internally anyway.
Yep.
So in order for us to create more of a visual kind of opportunity for other people, we started that not-for-profit because fundamentally in our community, especially in Black and brown communities, we know that there was always going to be a certain amount of training that was going to be constant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, Mise en Place made sense, and not just in limited to, but because we're trying to take care of people who live in the community.
Yep. Because Mise en Place is the Hospitality and Culinary Institute that you created or the training program that you created out of necessity.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, out of necessity.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. And
Okay.
we're going to talk about Mise en Place training and staffing and kind of dig in a little bit.
Oh, let's do it.
All right, very good.
What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? In it? What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people, for the black people, for the black people, for the black people. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. For the black people, 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 for the black people. What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black
All right, you are tuned in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business, and today I've got Chef Cliff Rome in studio, and I want to take a quick minute to just shout out everybody listening. Tiger Lily, we see you over the break. Chef Rome said, don't we know her? I'm like, yeah, that's how we got a lot of our staff. So thank you, Tiger and Jonathan Swain. We see you. We definitely see you. So Chef Rome,
Yep.
you can't run these businesses by yourself.
No.
That's not how that works.
Absolutely.
No. So when we say Peaches Restaurant, when we say Peaches at University of Chicago, when we say Parkway Ballroom, when we say Rome's Joy Catering, and when we say Mise en Place, you need people. You at least need one person for each one of those people.
Absolutely. You always have to have a point person.
And another fun story. So when I realized that Chef was more than just H Dogs, and he realized I had an HR background.
Yeah.
It was cool because I felt like I kind of had carte blanche to kind of do some creative stuff. So Chef is Chef. He's operational. He's the hands-on guy. He's got just like when we talked to Maze, and Maze is like, I'm emptying the garbage. I'm doing this stuff. That's Chef Rome.
Yeah.
You're going to see him on 45th Street sweeping. You're going to see him in the ballroom on top of the roof doing all kinds of stuff. Very rarely will they see you in the kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
And part of that is based on the training that you provide all of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Despite kind of in personal story for me, I think the last kind of checkbox I had in terms of working all functions within a restaurant was learning how to be an expediter.
Yeah.
That was a
That's
thing.
hard.
It's hard,
It's
but
really
it's a
hard.
thing for me, and I'm like there. I'm like almost there.
You actually moved me out of the way.
I did. I did. Because you bagged up some stuff wrong when we reopened, and I was irritated because it's the yellow tickets and the stuff. But when we talk about training, Chef Rome allowed us the opportunity. I love TV. Love TV. So when I realized that I was working for a real chef, and I was seeing all the back end stuff, and it was weird because you're private.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a private person, which was hard for me being in PR because I'm like, let's tell the world. And you're like,
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. But then we had to hire, and then we had to creatively hire.
Right.
And I came up with some ideas, and we would bounce ideas off of each other. And I was like, can we do like Chopped? Do you remember that?
Oh gosh.
we
yes.
would bring chefs, because here was the thing. I had an HR background. You had experience in businesses, and we always say you can fall in love with the person in 5 or 10 minutes
Yep.
of an interview. You can put your best foot forward for 5 minutes, but what does that look like when we actually hire you? And over the process, we would realize that we would hire them and then it wouldn't work.
No, they wouldn't. They couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it. And you can say, can you lift 50 pounds? Can you stand on your feet for 6 hours? Can you do all these things? And, when you want a job, you're shaking your head. Yes, I can do all these things, but you cannot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even that you cannot. Your body wasn't prepared for it. I always talk about my ankles. And your ankles that's not it. But when we talk about staffing and hiring, we had to do some non-traditional things in order to just get people. Because it's not like being in the service industry is popular.
Right.
Serving people, scraping them old chicken bones off the plate is not where it's at. You got people that mashed up grits and do all that stuff. We had to, because the industry needs people, right? It's different. We're not going into careers or telling people, especially now, fourth quarter pandemic. So we had to be creative in how we found our people. So we had a little episode a little stint where we would do the chopped stuff, where we would bring people in to battle.
I actually missed that.
I do too.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
I do too. That was I don't think it was. I don't think it was fun for the people.
No, they were totally scared, and I like that. It's a certain amount of fear that I like.
Oh.
But then after a while, I'm like, okay, just cook, and then I realized that that's the scary part, right? But you're right. I mean, for us, being very non-traditional was it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So asking questions. I remember, I think we did this hiring fair, and we started off asking someone what they had for breakfast.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Because what it does, it throws them off. They're like, what are you doing?
Let's roll it back. First of all, we invite everybody into the ballroom.
Right.
300-seater ballroom. We put the chairs in the middle of the floor, and we have people come in and we sit down and we do group style interviews.
That's intimidating.
And
I just want to tell you that right there is intimidating.
But that's part of that. Again, I'm into TV. And so it was kind of like our, what was that show? The show on Fox, like the reality show.
Oh,
you don't watch TV.
yeah. Well, I don't, but I know what you're saying. Right.
Yes.
So it's set up like Judges almost.
But the mindset behind that, it wasn't so much to be intimidating. It wasn't an ego thing. It was, if you're going to be in the restaurant, hospitality, and culinary industry, can you essentially talk around people, whether it's in the front of the house or the back of the house?
Right.
There is no big I's and little U's unless you own the business. In the kitchen, because we can't, if the dishwasher doesn't do their job and the plates are dirty, it doesn't matter how nice my server was. If the plates are dirty, that falls on the dishwasher. That falls on, so we had to do the non-traditional stuff. So I just wanted to give the background of, first of all, we invite you into the ballroom.
Yeah.
And we sit you down and we do all that stuff. But talk about our process for hiring and finding talent and what that looks like.
Oh, it's incredibly hard. I mean, I say this all the time. It is really trying to find people who are passionate about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've recognized over the years is that you don't have to really love food service, but you have to love working, right?
Yep.
And you have to, and if you're going to be around people, to that point you made earlier about just an open interview, right? You have to express and articulate everything it is that you're trying to say and trying to get across, because if you can't, you're a representation of me. Every time you walk out with that P on your back, that's me.
But it doesn't work like that, right?
No.
Okay, so we're over here talking as if, they come into the ballroom, they sit down, and it's not like that. And it took us a while to be okay that it's not like that, especially on the South and West sides, or for us on the South side, or just trying to hire our own people, right?
That's the challenge. So what I realized over the years, you and I had a lot of conversations, and we didn't see eye to eye on some of the stuff in terms of how to hire and what we were looking for. And I had to come to the realization that there's a certain thing that we just don't have in our communities. And sometimes, and I've said this before too, when you don't have institutions that are constantly training individuals, to be prepared for what the world is, because we always say when you get out in the world, you are in the world, right? We become institution deficient. And unfortunately, we see it on the South and West side, and especially in our Black communities. And so that dream of having people passionate the way I was in the 90s working downtown was it's gone. It's a bygone era, seriously, right? And so having to understand what it is that they are dealing with before they even come to work, right? And dealing with that. And for other people outside of the community, they're like, well, why do you have such a hard time? And there's so many people employed. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Man.
Look at this, man. All the stuff that is stacked up against them before they even start to think about work. And then listen, if you live in a household, let's say with 5 people, and you never see anyone get up and go to work, where do you get it from? Like that's impossible.
Yep.
So they already set up for failure.
Yeah. And then not only that, it's always, and when you talk about we didn't see eye to eye, to know Chef, which is why I want to bring you back, but Chef Rome is Chef Rome. He's been to Paris. He drinks rosewater martinis, like Pellegrino.
Salon champagne. Jay Swain.
Look at that. Crew. My palate has been elevated.
Yeah.
But it was a balance of, and we would have those conversations. Dude, you want 47th and King Drive. What do you want?
Yeah.
Like, we've got to pick, because the industry is the industry, but like you said, it's not like we're getting all these passionate people about the industry. So now we've got to find workers. And a lot of times my thought process was always, if I could spend a little time with you, if we could stage it out a bit, I know you might need to comb your hair, and I know I might need to buy you the proper undergarments to provide the job. Let's do that if we think we've got something for them. And that's been the struggle. And that's kind of been why Mise en Place has been created, because the other part is we realize, even if I believe in you, even if I want to hire you, I've got to do some heavy lifting for months.
Yes.
It's not I can't even on the job train you. If I decided that I wanted to on the job train you, I first have to do so much.
It's a starter kit. Right? It's a starter kit.
And there's a balance. And that's why we can talk about this part next time. But the balance is, and I've said this before, I'm the one that we both believe in people, and we'll believe in people differently, or we'll both see something different in people. But it's the part where we still have to balance the part where we're committed to hiring from the community. We're committed to having all the businesses in the community. But now we've got an ever-changing population of the community, of the people that have bought these condos, that now expect a level of service that's just not there. It's not that we don't know how to make sure that you have that level of service at Peaches. It's, I've got to get the person who's never dined, who is the worker, to understand that it's a process. And so you would start taking people out to eat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I did that so many times just because I wanted them to have that experience. Because if you've never seen it, you don't even know what it looks like.
Nope.
That's why it says success looks different to everyone. Because if they've never seen it, if you've never been in a room with it, how are you then going to define or explain it?
Yep.
So you have to at least. So we're starting at that point.
Yep.
Right before they even get to the plate. Right. This is before the plate.
Yep.
So if a person doesn't have any of that, then we're dealing with that. But in our communities, if we don't understand, supporting our business isn't just coming in and spending your money.
Yeah.
Supporting the business a lot of times is understanding that this is your niece, nephew, son, or daughter.
Yep.
Quit playing.
Yep.
Right.
You didn't teach them how to mop at home.
Right.
Can we talk about that part? Because, and this isn't even a socioeconomic thing.
No.
I think this is kind of the generation that we're in right now, right?
Yeah.
So do you insist, before you send your child to go and get a job, have they wiped counters at home? Have they vacuumed at home? Do they know what dirt looks like? Because then essentially what happens is you come to work and now we're the big bad wolves because we got the nerve to tell you to wipe a counter down, let alone in a pandemic. Now I need you to wipe that counter down every 5 minutes.
I kind of feel like teachers, right? In a kind of a way, like, wait a minute, you sending your child to school and you didn't do any of this pre-work?
Yep.
Like, no, you don't just push me out there and then say go. But that's what's been happening.
Yep. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Let's get it.
All right.
What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people, for the black people, for the black people, for the black people. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. For the black people, for the black people, for the black people,
buttons I was supposed to hit. So I hit my face and I hit the lower third. Thank you, Maze. I'm getting trained. I'm getting on the job training.
I'm glad you were watching that because he said it and I was like, yeah, go ahead, T.
I
And
knew
you're
it
gonna
was-
be here by yourself soon. So
I-
love it, learn to love it.
But look, I knew it was a setup because I promise you, I sit there. The past two Saturdays, this is where I sit. He's like, no. You sit
Over here.
Hold on, homie. I don't sit over here. But it's cool. I love learning. So, Chef Rome, we're in studio with Chef Rome. You guys are listening to Minding Our Black-Owned Business, and we've been talking a little bit about how we staff, how we hire, the challenges we have. And these challenges, let's face it, it's funny to me when the pandemic hit and, we knew we were getting ready to shut down. Our challenges are amplified, but they were still the same challenges before. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't, for us being in it every day and knowing what we've got to hire, knowing who we've got to hire, and knowing that we're committed to it, right? We're committed to our people. We're not to a fault, though. I think the pandemic forced us to make some strong decisions
Yes.
because we went from a staff of like 22 at Peaches to 8.
Yeah.
Right, so that was a choice.
That was drastic.
It was drastic. It was a choice. How'd that make you feel? Because the part that I don't think people see a lot of times with you is you really care about all of us.
Oh, no doubt.
Like you care
Yeah.
about, did we eat in the morning? Are we healthy? And you care about, did you drink your tea and your water? Stop eating them biscuits, Tennille. All of that. Don't eat them grits. Send somebody else to taste the peach cobbler. But you care about us. So that wasn't easy to let everybody go.
No, it wasn't. One of the things, let me talk about the care part. When I first started working in kitchens, there was this thing called comida in Spanish, which is family meal.
Okay.
Right? And so I didn't understand it in the beginning, but then immediately I said, wait, this takes me back to a place. This is a time where you got everyone together and, you talked about what was about to happen, right? But while you were doing that, you were feeding people. And sometimes you talked about things that weren't work related, right? Because what you wanted was to get people relaxed, right? You wanted that anxiety to calm down and you wanted to really talk about what the task was going to be. Because you really wanted the best out of the people.
Yep.
And so I've realized that if you do that, people appreciate that.
Yep.
And what we found out was that some people hadn't eaten all day.
Yep.
Right. And they, maybe this was the only hot meal that they were going to get. So when I was, especially when I was at Spago, I was in charge of family meal. Right.
It's a big deal.
Well, oh, it's huge. Right.
Because if it's nasty, I'm talking.
And people they would tell you right away. So imagine this, regardless of what the customer was going to do, I'm talking about your coworker.
Yep.
Right. And you're supposed to be a chef. You're an aspiring chef and you can't even put this meal together.
Yep.
Right. And so for me, I took pride in that. And so that was probably one of the pass downs of saying, hey, listen, we're going to do this and we'll do it in all our businesses. And then I realized that it was so important that people would start to look, forward to it.
Yeah.
And so that became the little difference in terms of what we do.
And it's there and it's feeding them and it's the care. But again, you had to let a lot of people go.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the part where the Mise en Place training program, even though we had to let a lot of people go, a lot of people were able to go back and get jobs.
Oh, they
Other
were doing a
places.
quick pivot.
Man, because some of them were like, can we get this person back? Can we get this person back? And they were like, nope, I'm at Mariano's.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm at this place. Nope, I started my own business.
Yeah.
And I think I want to talk about Mise en Place a little bit from the standpoint of you created something out of a necessity because it's not as if there's a marketing program for the hospitality and culinary industry on the south and west sides. And when we hear a lot about how the restaurant industry is struggling, sometimes when I hear the media, I kind of hear it from the standpoint of, oh no, where are we going to put the domes? We ain't putting domes on 47th and King Drive.
Yeah.
That's not our challenge. Our challenge is, if I hire this person, will this person be able to keep their job? Because I already went from 22 to 8. And now we're not doing dine-in right now, which is, it's coming. But then the challenge is, if we bring on a couple of servers to do the dine-in, what does that look like? So Mise en Place has been able to provide us the opportunity to really retrain the staff that we decided to keep or call back and
Again,
give them new skills.
It's kind of that starter kit we talked about. I mean, unfortunately, we spend a lot of time having to train people simply because they didn't get the fundamentals. And we know without the fundamentals, no matter how far you go or the potential you have to go and how much money you have, if you're not pouring it into the right places, and that's the people, and the outcomes take longer, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes the customers don't wait around for that, right? But that's a story that we hadn't told before, and now we're starting to tell it more because it's obvious. Not because, hey, I want you to feel sorry for us. No, don't feel sorry for us. We've been doing this, but now we want to externally, we want to get it out there so people are able to understand what we're really doing and the challenges with that.
Yep, and the transparency. We worked on right before the shutdown, we hosted an event at Peaches at Currency Exchange Cafe,
right,
which is now no longer Peaches at Currency Exchange Cafe. Shout out to Theaster Gates and the entire team at Rebuild.
Yeah.
We had an awesome opportunity to have a pop-up experience where we got to see a collaboration of two great businessmen in the arts, in their respective fields, coming together to provide more opportunities for staff. And we need to see more of that. You've got funders, but you need more.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because you can't do it overnight. And you do. We invest a lot of just our own time, and we do that. But in terms of when people ask how can they help and what can they do, it's a lot of times that ask of people with budgets and the ask of people when we say we've got these training programs. And Antoinette, we see you. Thank you so much also for all the work that you do, because it's a balance of I found these people, the 18 to 24-year-olds, but we need more support. We need more funders to be able to assist us in doing the work that's required to keep this industry open and to retrain all of these people. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think that, you need to be able to go through the paperwork because everything has to be standardized. Yeah. There also has to be a moment when you say, okay, I did what I did. Now it's your turn, right? And your turn, you have to let us go, right? And let us work the way that we're doing it, simply because the connectivity that we have is different. You can't necessarily write that down, right? No. And so how am I going to retrain you on that when this person is different from that person?
Yep.
It's having to adjust that teaching style that's made it successful for us. Yeah. It's having to have those conversations, sometimes really tough conversations. Yeah. Around, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. I mean, how you going to standardize that? You can't. So the uniqueness of what we do, not that we're the only people doing it, but there's a uniqueness to what we do that is a certain value. And so funders sometimes don't understand that. Yeah. Because it's not cookie cutter.
But you produce the results too. I think.
Oh yeah, we put the numbers up.
Yeah, you put the numbers up, and we're committed to the people, and I think that's important. One of the things we're doing now, which is crazy, because again, restaurant industry, you're not necessarily sitting in front of a computer.
No.
But we've had to retrain our staff to learn how to program the back end of the POS, or how to take the right picture at the right angle, the way Chef Rome likes the picture, with the right background and the tight shot in the food. Because let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about, I'm a digital strategist. How important was and is your digital infrastructure?
Crazy.
I'm smiling because I created it.
Crazy. Right. I didn't think about it. I mean, obviously, you know that. I didn't think one thing about. I just got on Instagram, right?
With no photo. You out here just at Cliff.Roman
just
with
terrible.
No photo of your face. Yeah.
But I now understand how important it is, right? Because we're reaching people, we're able to tell a story, and we're able to do it instantly.
Yep.
Right. So it's different from back in the day when you didn't necessarily have to do that and you were writing. I talked about this before when there were food writers, right? And you would wait every Friday when Pat Bruno would stroke that pen, right? And then you'd see this article and it's wow. But now everyone's a food writer.
And it's instant.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where our relationship with our bloggers, our relationship with our media outlets, the non-traditional media outlets, I think it was, I'm like, Cliff, I know somebody that knows somebody that has like 10 followers. Let them come in and eat for free. Free. We ain't doing free. Hold on. What they about to do? And I think for me with you, what's been fun watching the evolution of your digital infrastructure and the platform is we see it working.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things for business owners. And you took the time, and it wasn't we were just talking. Cliff had this system that he created in like 2002.
Oh, and I still have it.
And he does. And it was come into the office, get on the server, find the client file. He has every file. If you spent any money with Chef Rome, he knows it. We got records. He's got receipts that date back to the 2000s.
And that labor sheet that's taped together that Eileen and I spill wine on, right?
Hey, Eileen. And it was me like, hold on a minute. We got to get on the Google.
Yeah.
We've got to Google Drive it. We've got to then, because again, I'm thinking I'm just doing a Facebook page for H Dogs, and then it was like Facebook page for H Dogs, Peaches, Parkway. And full transparency, sometimes I struggle keeping up. I have to prioritize kind of, we're going to post on this and this today, and then we'll post on this and this tomorrow and do that kind of thing. But operating now in fourth quarter during a pandemic, your digital infrastructure has kind of helped us a lot because we do online sales now.
You're
and that
right.
was something that wasn't even a part of the growth plan.
I think we had talked about it, but it was so far down the road that we hadn't even touched. I mean, I think about now. I mean, just think when we had Market Park Pavilion, when we did the concession stand out
we
at
were in
Market
Gary.
Park,
Yep,
right?
Gary,
You know,
Indiana
so
for a
those
while.
were two things that we were doing, and all the side smaller jobs and consulting and all. I'm like, wow, that was a lot of work.
Yep.
Most of which people never knew we were doing.
Yep. And it takes time, but it also takes that skill set. When we take it back to staffing, it takes now, I need people to know how to take a picture. I need people to know how to do, because that's your contribution to the sales for the day.
Yeah.
I need for you to do all those things. And a lot of times it doesn't work that way. And Antoinette, you're spot on. Parents tell kids to go get a job. And because our back end is you go find a job at a restaurant, that's what you do. But if you didn't put in the work with your child in advance, or like you said, if they didn't wake up seeing somebody go to work, then it's not something that, you've got to move those work muscles, and you've got to do all that stuff that sometimes doesn't come automatic to people. And that can be a challenge.
I mean, when we started to think about technology and just the digital presence, then if you only have that and you don't have the hands-on technical work that, we had coming up, that means that you can't count the bank down at the end of the day. And something as simple and fundamental as understanding how to add and subtract from that bank, right?
Or let's not even get to the end of the day with the bank, because that's a managerial skill. Can you count down if the person's bill was $3.19 and my God, they gave you $4.20? Do you know they're supposed to get a dollar and a penny back so that you don't waste all your change? It's those types of things. So my next question, I guess, is what skills or how can we make this more of helping us a little bit as are we hiring?
Yeah.
We are?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we need line cooks.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that having line cooks, because that's the whole thing too.
You see my face?
Yeah.
For our staff that's listening, your boss said he's still looking for people.
Yeah. Well, we're still looking for. We always looking for people, and we're looking for good people.
And we're looking for hostesses.
Yes.
That's true. I did know the answer to that. We are hiring. We're always looking for people that want to work. You've got to want to work, though.
That's your contribution for real. If you come to the job knowing that this is what you want to do, then I literally give them everything, right? There's nothing that you need in this job that you can't have right here. Now you have to want to do it.
Yep.
And that's always a struggle.
Yep. And it's the part where I think it sounds easy in theory, but it's really not easy in theory.
No, it's not.
And I always want to say kudos to you as it relates to when I do, sometimes I look and I'm like, Chef Ron was really not here. But we're functioning and we're operating, and we've got Chef Trillis in the kitchen, and you've got Percy and Amana and all these people that you've literally invested years of time in to make sure that they can function and work and be better contributors to society, right? Not only to our landscape of what we've got going on, but to also be better contributors. And they've grown up. Trillis grew up with us.
As a dishwasher.
Right, and he is now the lead line cook at Peaches.
And he's led like 3 different businesses, right?
Yep.
That we started. So that's a testament to our investment. But more importantly, when he stands out on his own, everything that he learned with us, he takes with him.
Yeah, everything.
That's the whole thing, right? Like we don't take it, but I don't strip you of all the things. No, that's yours to keep.
And that's the part I think I wish people would understand when you come, because we also are in this generation where I could do it too. Yeah. And sometimes you can't do it too.
No.
And even if you can do it too, it's one of those things where, but put your time in with someone that has already paved the way and learn. We say that all the time. You're transparent and learn from my goods, my bads. Yeah. Figure that out. What does that look like before you decide I'm about to go open up a restaurant, or because you learned how to cook shrimp and grits, now all of a sudden you a whole restaurant out your kitchen. Well, no, out of your house. No. It doesn't work that way. And I think I wish more people would understand the part where, one, if you're a worker, we're looking for you, so you can apply at hiring@romesjoy.com. send an email just letting us know that you're interested. But I think the other part for me is making sure that, work doesn't there's no substitute for hard work.
There never was.
No, there's no substitute for hard work. And you've got to find a place and a space in this world for you that makes sense. And it's okay. I'm still okay with the restaurant industry not being where you want to be for the rest of your life, right? So we had Destiny over the summer. Destiny wants to be an anesthesiologist. That sounds great, but get this packing system down.
Right.
Because that's something that's going to translate to you when you are figuring out, your doctor world and being organized. It's that mise en place, right?
It is. I mean, I think that having this fundamental kind of rules set for them to be able to take to the next level is important.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you don't have it, where are they going to get it from?
Yep. Where are you going to get it from? The other part for you is you like to support Black-owned businesses too.
Oh, all the time.
That's
man.
like your thing. I think one of the things that we work well together is the part where we are passionate about just supporting others and recognizing that although we are small business owners, there are other small business owners that need our support as well. So when we come back, we will talk about that.
Done.
All right, last segment.
All right, appreciate it.
WIFTBPM.
Are you curious to explore the intellectual currents that channel our thoughts and frame our reality? Have you ever meditated for relaxation and accidentally discovered the universe in the process? These matters and many more you may never have even thought of will be yours to explore as you come with me into Muwakil's world. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 1, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard.
Well, what was the power of the Bible? Most motherfuckers couldn't read. So the Bible legitimately changed the world because motherfuckers began to learn to read. And once I can learn to read, wait a minute, I can question some of this bullshit you talking
What school
about.
you go to though?
It don't matter.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Well, no, I'm just
No,
asking.
I went to Dunbar.
Yes!
That's how Dunbar. Oh, it's good. People disrespect the city schools.
This Chicago!
And I'm a motherfucking genius.
And that's on period.
Shout out to the mighty man.
No, I'm just playing. But seriously though, think about it though, right? The Bible legitimately changed the world, right?
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
WIFTBPM.
We're back. Oh,
There we go.
there we go. Hello, we're back. So word on the street is the board op put sugar in his grits.
What?
That's what I hear. That I'm not one to talk about people.
Oh, is that from Bolingbrook? Is that a Bolingbrook
No, that's
thing?
not a Bolingbrook thing. I don't know what that is.
That is
'cause-
crazy,
Well,
man.
I do cream of wheat, and I put sugar in my cream of wheat. I put
But
sugar
that's
in my
different.
rice.
Like sugar in your rice?
Yeah, sugar and butter. I like yellow rice.
Stop it.
Yeah, I clog all my arteries.
Oh my God. That is terrible. What do you want? Like rice pudding?
Oh, that sounds gross.
Right. That's why you like sugar in your oh my God.
Oh,
Sugar
the
in your
mush.
rice.
I don't want the mush.
Oh.
Whatever. So we're on Minding Our Black-Owned Business. I'm here with Chef Cliff Rome. Thank you all for everybody that's been tuning in, listening. Thank you all for your support of all the brands, all the businesses. I think
Need it, want it, gotta have it.
that kind of goes without saying. Peaches, just a quick update on Peaches. Peaches reopened in June. We closed from March to June.
Right. No.
Reopened with a staff of 8. And we have been trying to perfect the curbside carry out and catering.
I think they're doing a good job.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And our customers have seemed to pivot. Customers, and I want to openly say this. We miss you all.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want anybody to ever think that we're just not doing dine-in. I think we erred on the side of caution. We knew our customers, knew what the challenges were going to be with our staff, and it was important to us to get kind of our new model down.
Mm-hmm.
New model being online. That was completely new for us. Just making sure that the packaging was right so that if we were going to do carry out, Chef Rome had a whole, I know number 8 bags, 12 bags, 10 bags, 20 bags, my jumbo bags, my senior bags.
You actually know all the bags.
Listen,
Right.
I know that my catfish greens and grits, I put my catfish and my greens and grits at the bottom, and then I put the catfish on the top. I ever so lightly fold the bag down, staple it over so that it doesn't spill over in your car. There are things that we had.
Because we had to be the consumer.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so then that way you know what the customer wants.
We had to make sure that the coffee was right. We had to just make sure that things were right. And for us, dine-in will happen again. I think that it hurts my heart when I see customers come in and they just look, or, on Sundays. Because Peaches, let's be real, Peaches is people's spot.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, and different, right? We read all the reviews.
Yeah. Error last one of them.
We read them all with or without our names on it. And we do literally, I always want to openly and publicly make sure people understand that you are very hands-on. Not so much that you're necessarily there, but if there's a review, if there's something, you're reading it and you're responding, or you're making sure that it has been handled or corrected, or mise en place training says, okay, let's go back and train this. Let's go back and do this. And I think that that's really important. But in terms of operating a business in the fourth quarter during a pandemic, we still need that consistency.
Oh, man. And it's so hard. I mean, first of all, I read all the reviews because it keeps me current with the business, right? And then I send long text messages and long emails to our staff just about, because when it's on my mind, I want to be able to say, hey, listen, let's correct it. Right?
Yes, because here's the other part, and the clock will run out on us, but it's okay. Chef Rome is one of those, I think we work well together because I grew up working with people like you, and I am like you as it relates to, get this done, get it done now. That is not what especially if I told you a few times.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do I have to continue to repeat myself? Chef Rome, no, hold on.
When they get a real dose.
Listen, when it's real, and it's one of those things in the moment, I'm so irritated at him because it's the off day and it's this, but then I have to kind of flip on my business owner switch and say, this man's money. This is your money. And what you're not going to do is waste it. What you're not going to do is keep the black mat on face flat when it's supposed to be angled up properly ever so slightly, because I think people need to understand just how clean you are, how precise you are, how the walls are never dirty at Peaches, and if they are, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing,
it's
man.
It's a text message that we
or several, right?
Or several with the photo proof,
yeah,
right? Because somebody taught him how to take pictures and send it to
receipts.
us all. Yes, Chef Rome, as a business owner, keeps receipts with the staff, and we will not be taking any shortcuts. And you watch us.
Yeah, no,
right?
constantly, and the reason is because I want it to be right.
Yep.
We're constantly chasing perfect. Right.
Yep.
But I want consistency.
Yep.
And I'll never be satisfied with just the subparness that people bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like, take that shit home.
Yep.
Like, I don't want that.
Yep.
What we want to have is order. Because if we have order, that means we're doing all the fundamentals correctly. And now we left the door cracked for some real opportunities to come. They don't come when you're not organized. They don't come when you're not proficient in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's about making sure those opportunities come and keep coming.
Yes. And so for the customers that support the brands, just know he stays on us. So this isn't a business owner who's like, whatever. No, this business owner is like, hey, did you give them a sample to make sure that they then bought that peach Palmer, or buy the Palmer by the gallon, or do all of those things? And I think that's important. I think that's important for people to know in general, just about you as the leader of the brands and leader of what we're doing, and the person that's training us all to just be better and get better. And now when you go home, go wash your walls at home as well.
Get them corners too.
Get the corners and learn how to sweep. But I like to end every show with, just so it's minding our Black-owned business. You own businesses, but you also support a lot of Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
Give me 3 that we think people should support.
Oh, Abundance Bakery is always the first one that comes to mind, simply because of the story of Bill Ball and how he's been in the community and is an intricate part of, like, building Black businesses, right? And what they used to look like.
On Tobacco Road.
Yeah, on Tobacco Road. Then I always go over and take Dana some wine or whatever from Kimbart, you have to go over. If you have not been there, please go support John Swain over there.
The McBride sisters.
Oh,
man,
dope.
that rosé.
Dope.
Yep.
Dope. Like, I love that. And just doing it just because. Yep. And then another business used to be Illinois Service Federal, right? But it is now GM Bank, right? I know. It comes with a set of challenges, but here's the thing, man. When you start to look at the country and you look at Black-owned banks and institutions, there aren't many, right?
But the ones that are in the alley on 47 that require you to get out your car.
I get it.
And get that change. Despite the man watching you get the change.
Is it goats in the lobby? I'm sorry, I did not mean any bad.
You got to pick another one. I'm sorry. But
really?
go ahead with your spiel, because this is how committed he is, though. I'm like,
I'm gangster with it, though, man.
Cliff.
That's because Tennille had to stand in the line.
Listen, Tennille Jackson from Bolingbrook, born and raised, still lives in Bolingbrook. Did you tell me to get out the car to come get my quarters?
Yeah, it's terrible,
from the alley.
Man, but
oh no! Hey, I'm not getting change. I am not counting down a bank. I'm not getting.
You know what? I believe in the story. Listen, you know, Mr. Higginbottom is one of my mentors and probably the biggest instrumental person in my life that was really about entrepreneurs and reinvesting into people, right? And at a certain point, I know he was like, hell no, cut that shit off, right? But like, I believe in that, right? And I believe in those businesses. I mean, like Two Fish, go down there and support. You know,
Yasmin.
You do that. And so I started to think about all these other places in the community. Like, if we're not really supporting them, even if you go and you don't have to go every day. Yeah. But if you go in your current, then that helps that bottom line. Yep. We all need that shit.
And we need the consistency.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's not one of those things. I always like to, right now, and especially with this podcast, I want people to think past the hashtag. I want you to think past the trending stuff. It is Blacktober, though. So you can go to Peaches and get you some pumpkin spice pancakes during Blacktober. And yes, I said pumpkin spice pancakes. You can get you some sweet potato pie if you don't want to lose your credibility.
Or some lemon pound cake.
Or some lemon pound cake.
Or peach cobbler.
A little peach cobbler. Yeah, shrimp and grits.
Some coffee.
A little coffee. Peach coffee, Jamaican rum. You could buy the coffee by the pound.
Do it, man.
You can do all of that stuff. But yeah, so basically what you're saying is Peaches Restaurant is the one.
Peaches on 47.
.com.
Killing it.
Order online.
Killing it.
Today.
Yep.
Okay. That's basically what we're doing. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You coming back?
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. We'll do it like
in
November, at the end of November, towards the end. We'll recap again. We'll do something else. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for tuning in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business here at What's In It for the Black People Studios. And my person is giving me these hand gestures.
I'm Tennille Jackson, and I'm the host, and I want to encourage you to join me every Saturday at 10 a.m. right here for Minding Our Own Black Business. Now, you can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and on LinkedIn at
Tennille Jackson.
Hey, y'all. This is What's In It for the Black People Media. Shout out to Tennille. Shout out to Chef Cliff Rome. Minding our black-owned business. Hey, y'all. Coming up next, we got Crave and Go Ladies.
Go Ladies. Go Ladies. Very good.
For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people. For the black people, for the black people, for the black people. What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. For the black people. For the black people, 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 for the black people. For the black people, for the black people, for the black people.